Hello and good evening, and thank you very much for joining us on Friday Night Writes. I am Brian Scala, and with us this evening is author T.L. Combs. Thank you very much for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Yes, and I yeah I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't remember where I saw you last. I know I've seen you somewhere, but it was at Booked in Chaos
Yeah.
last year. So
Yeah. Booked in Cast, I believe that was in November
yes,
of
it
last
was.
year. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully I can get back there next year. But
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah, I'll be there next year. Yeah, this coming year I'll be there and I've signed up for next year too.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're actually before we get started, just want to remind everybody that we have our anthology, "See Me as I Am." We have 31 pre-orders now, so it's
Oh, wow.
yes, it's for dedicated to everyone, and especially those who deal with the overlooked and invisible illnesses. Whether it be mental or physical. People who don't look sick, but really are. And we have 17 amazing authors, and Ashley Scheller has donated some of her artwork as well. They're fantastic stories. The book comes out July 1st, and you can pre-order it now. So, and put that away now. So, and for those of you who we're also rehoming a book, a physical copy of Audacity of Flower by
Hmm.
Miss T.L. Combs. And
Yes.
if you want to enter that, just
I
drop.
have that right here.
There it is, beautiful. And if you want that, just drop a flower emoji down in the comments, in the chat, and I will keep track. I'll do my very best to keep track of everything. You have pen and paper here, so we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. But so, so I guess we can get started. Just uh, very just basic question. Who is T.L. Combs? Tell me a little bit about you.
Well, I am a fantasy, romantasy, contemporary romance author. I have actually and dabbled in this is Regency inspired. Jane Austen was my first love, essentially, when it came into reading. So this is kind of my homage to her with my own spin on it.
Nice.
So yeah, I do all the things. I actually also have another pen name that I do dark fantasy romance on and paranormal romance as well. So
Nice. And now, was this always your dream when, as a child? Did you want to be anything else when you grew up, or was it just writing?
well, initially, I wanted to be a chef growing up, which I did become one. So I was a chef for about 17 years. I went to culinary school and all that. But when I first started writing, like reading and writing was really kind of big in our house. Every summer after school, we would go to the library and pick out a book, and we would have to read that book and have a book report done by the end of the summer. So we would always enter all of those contests throughout the school year too, with, reading so many books throughout the year and that kind of thing. So I would always write little stories and I would journal a whole lot ever since I was like 6 or 7. So reading and writing were always like a huge part of me growing up. So it was inevitable to get to this point. So
Yeah, but you were a culinary chef for what, 16 years, and
yeah, 17 years. Yeah,
oh, 17.
I went to the Lake Cordon Bleu program in Orlando, and so yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it, but after we got married and had our youngest, I decided I wanted to be home with our kids. So
Nice. And that's when you started writing, I believe.
yeah, yeah, I started writing around 2021 ish is when the idea started rolling in, and by 2022 I had the solid series, the Belheim Realm series back here,
Right.
completed. So yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, we'll give you a chance to talk a little bit more about all of your books,
Hmm.
as we go on. And besides writing, writing and I assume you still do a little bit of the chef work maybe at home. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, I
cooking for
do.
the family.
I try to. Yeah,
Yeah,
for the family. Every now and again, I'll do a small catered event or something if I have to, but for the
right.
most part, it's all authorship right now.
Yes, gotcha. Yeah. And anything else that that you would I mean your author is what you do. Is there anything else
Mhm.
that you do as a hobby of sorts?
Well, I mean, I do character art, so I
Oh,
draw. That was one of my first major was graphic design, before I went into culinary school, and so yeah, I draw. I obviously cook. I have a garden. I have chickens. I have a sheepdog. I have a cat. Like so, we do all the things and out here. So
nice.
it is our first year that we'll have peaches on our baby peach trees, so we're excited.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Every year, my wife says she wants to start a garden and grow tomatoes or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
and then springtime comes, and I haven't heard anything about it so far, and
Yeah.
it's May.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It starts in the winter time too. So it's a full year of just prepping and everything. So it's a whole lot of work for sure.
Yeah. Oh, this weekend, my job is to clean the grill and start and do that for the first time this year.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So, um, you know, um, any you have your writing, you have your other hobbies. Do you have any like charities or any type of you know like causes that are near and dear to you? Like
Well, we definitely I started up with the give beloved Asheville rather,
oh
after
yeah,
the hurricane.
yes,
So that's still linked on my website, as my link tree as well. So people can still donate because there's still a lot of damage that needs to be cleared up since that. So yeah, so
yeah,
that's what mostly we focus on now
yeah.
because I had a lot of friends and family out there that were affected by the storms.
Yeah, that was my next question. Because you don't hear you hear a lot about it. In the like the first 2 weeks after the
Right.
fact, and then it just kind of everybody moves on to the next issue.
The next big thing. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah, it's still my girlfriend who I've known for 20 plus years, their whole town they would go into to get, their groceries and everything was completely destroyed. So slowly they're building it back up. And they have to go to the next town over to get what they need in supplies, but it is what it is. But just keeping them in mind and that it's still a lot of devastation out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And later on, I'll remind you, to, like say that the name of that charity one more time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
Mhm.
try to find the link, and post it
Okay.
down here in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, great.
You and we'll get to your books in just a second, and it's just,
Yeah.
um, you know, a couple things we like to ask is, like favorite food, favorite seasons, favorite candy, anything that you would consider like a favorite, you know.
Okay. Well, my favorite food, since I was a little kid, it's always been French fries.
Ah.
No, I don't share French fries, and if I share French fries, I like you. So, definitely one of my favorites. I love chocolate. Anything chocolate, I'm happy with. Um, what other favorites? My favorite color is rose gold. I don't know because
Hmm.
if you know me, I love rose gold.
Hmm.
Everything I have is pretty much
I was gonna say
pinkish rose gold and everything. So,
yes. I
uh,
see a couple of the pinkish
yeah,
things in the background there.
yeah. So if you receive a book from me, it'll be in pink, pink packaging. I
Nice.
have pink boxes and all that stuff. So yeah, I definitely love my rose gold. Twinkly lights are my favorite thing. So Christmas
Mm.
time is my favorite time of year,
Oh yeah.
because of all the decorations and twinkly lights and sparkles. But I love fall. Like fall is my jam.
Uh-huh.
That's where I linger. That's where I live. So fall on, I love that time of year.
Nice. Now, do you have like your backyard? Is it like have all the lights set up outside like that?
I used to in our old backyard because we had a pergola and all that kind of stuff. So this backyard's a little different because it's all like pretty much garden, and everything, and the chickens and everything like that. And so it's a little different setup. So I don't have the lights, but the front porch has the cafe lights in front and everything
Ah,
like that that come on. They actually just popped on
oh,
so during
nice.
the evening. Yeah,
Yes,
so yeah, I
they're
love, yeah, I have a swinging chair on there and everything like that. So it's nice.
nice. Yeah, I know my wife wants to get those. Well, we used to have the lights that come the like the that come on when it's dark. You know, like the sensor
Yeah,
lights.
that's the
Yeah,
sensors. Like, yeah, yeah, I have those. Yeah,
but
it's nice.
yeah. So, and you're also a reader, as we all are.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
would you say was the last book that you read that you would absolutely give 5 stars?
The last book that I read to completion was Beast by Taya Rain, and it's like a dark romance. Yeah, like it's a dark like assassins romance kind of thing. Definitely 5 stars. I love that whole series. It's called the Church series, and there's 4 books in it, I believe. Yeah, so these are the last 2 books in the series, and it's part one, part two of this particular character. And it's about a group of assassins and the ins and outs of the whole thing, and then they have their own individual romances throughout. So yeah, I love those stories. So yeah, definitely a 5 star read for me.
Awesome, awesome. And who knows? Maybe Audacity of Flower is your 5 star read. And um, if you want a copy of that, or if you want to try to get a rehomed copy of that, drop a flower emoji down in those comments. And there it is. That's a beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Like I said, it's like a timeless. There's a timelessness
Yeah.
to that cover. It's like
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted them to look kind of like those old school romances from back in the day.
yes,
So that was kind of like the vibe that I was
mm.
looking for. And like the hardbacks look like the classic, Jane Austen kind
oh
of
yeah,
style. So yeah, those are I love these books. These are my favorite, and I actually enjoy reading them just
yeah,
because I enjoy I love Regency and I love
nice.
that kind of style and those type of dramatic declarations, and so yeah, I really enjoy those stories.
Yeah, my mother used to read Danielle Steele. She had all
Oh
those
yeah.
the Danielle Steele novels, and
Oh yeah.
um, there's an author that I like. Her name is Thea Landon, and she released a book
Mhm,
last year. It's called the Edge of the Sphere, and I think I have
mhm.
a copy here. I don't want to take too much time here, but
No, you're fine.
yeah, I'm trying to find it on my bookshelf, but it looks it looks deliberately like the font in the title is like the old Danielle Steele novel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love
So
that.
yeah. So all right. So now tell us about your books now. Yeah. Now you have a couple series that you've written, and
Yeah. So the first series that I finished was the Belhem Realm series. That's with the Houses of Glass and Night, the Hearts of Ice and Glass, and the Souls of Glass and Stone. It is centering around a particular family, and their individual stories going into. So the first story is about Jasmine, and she is found wandering in the woods, not knowing who she is or how she got there. And when they take her into the hospital, turns out she's pregnant, and she has no idea how that happened. And you fast forward 7 years later, her and her son are just trying to live their lives, still not knowing who they are or who, how they came to be, essentially. And her son disappears, and it's in her search for him that she tumbles into a portal and finds herself in the middle of a 100-year war with, all sorts of creatures and direwolves and
well,
elves. So it is a whirlwind adventure, love story, all that stuff.
awesome.
So yeah, it's about, a very strong woman, she's a very strong mother, determined to find her son and keeping that connection throughout the whole story. And then book two is a prequel of the king and queen of the realm and how their love story came to be and how it established the royal family. And you kind of get a glance of the entire realm in that book because they do a honeymoon tour. and they kind of jump to all of the territories throughout the realm. So you just kind of get the vibe of the culture of each territory and what they cultivate and what they make, that kind of things. And then book three is the epic finale, basically bringing you back at the end of book one,
Ah,
and it all comes together to a head, connecting all three books. So you
gotcha.
have to read them as I wrote them. You
Nice.
can't jump around, or it'll throw out the whole thing. And then the second series that I completed was the Carter Sister series. That's my Regency inspired romance. And I say Regency inspired because I do fantasy mostly.
Uh huh.
So I'm not doing history. I'm sorry, I was not a history major and I wasn't going to research all of the things. So I just made up a whole new world and decided to just do my own thing, but do
That
the
works.
Regency elements. So I have that disclaimer at the beginning of the book for all of my history buffs. But yeah, it's heavily influenced by the Regency era. But yeah, it's just about two sisters and their particular and their individual love stories. The middle book in between is a Christmas story. It's called The Humbug of the Holiday, and it's my spin on the Christmas Carol. If you did the opposite, if you were the extreme Christmas fiend, and so that's our main character, Poppy, who is an Audacity of Flower. Um, so the Audacity of Flower follows Poppy, the young woman here on the cover, and she finds herself in a very precarious situation with the master of the house. And she decides she needs to leave and find other employment. And she goes to the city, and is her new employer is very mysterious and but very very handsome. And she finds herself yet
Of
again
course.
in a difficult situation. So yeah, it's ups and downs, very dramatic and love and all that kind of stuff. Everything you love about, Jane Austen, and very cozy, simple, nothing crazy dramatic, but some twists and turns that'll keep you guessing.
Nice.
And the Pride of Princess is her sister, her younger sister, who is the clear opposite of Poppy. Poppy is a type A, very proper personality, as where Dinah is very dramatic and just head in the clouds kind of girl. And she ends up falling for her her brother-in-law's partner in their business. And it's a whole lot of there's some fake courting, there's some drama, there's just all that kind of stuff because there wouldn't be drama without Dinah. So,
Yes.
but yeah.
So I
Oh, and
know.
then I have a lot more other things too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. I forgot. Those are the two series that I've completed. I have a duology. That's my contemporary romance. That's called the Realization Duet. Take the time to realize and the realization of him. It is about a young woman, about a chef who wants to become a chef, and she goes to culinary school and ends up meeting a really cute guy at a bar, but turns out he's a teacher's assistant, and it's kind of a big no-no for them to get together,
Oh, of
and
course.
it kind of spirals from there. So the first book is her perspective, and the second book is his perspective. Typically, you would have those joined together in a duel, but the way the books worked out, you need to have the two separate stories.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's those two stories, and then I have Fractured that just came out in February. That is another more of a romantic suspense, but a romance, so it has a happily ever after. It is about a young widow who is left behind with two daughters, and it deals with some really rough topics such as domestic violence, domestic
Right.
abuse, and all that kind of stuff. Kind of pulling from my past and things that I went through. A lot of the scenarios were real scenarios that
Right.
happened, and so yeah, so it was a very personal write for me.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable piece for me to write out. She does end up finding her happily ever after, but through her own strength as well.
Right.
So that's really important to me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have a rom com coming out this summer, and That's my first rom com, and I'm really excited. It's called Charmed Again, and that is the blend of, again, Jane Austen but modern, Emma and Persuasion. If those two kind of married together and created this kind of dynamic with diverse characters. So, and I also have a children's book called Sunrise to Moonlight, and my daughter actually did the illustrations for those.
Oh,
So,
that's really cool. Yeah.
yeah,
How old
yeah.
is your daughter?
She's 17. She's
Oh, okay.
17.
Nice.
Yeah.
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 And it's
A couple of things I wanted to mention. I know you said one of your
mhm.
characters went to culinary school, so I guess it's,
Yeah.
so it's, I do find that, a lot of times we, take little bits and pieces of ourselves and kind of put them in our
Yes.
stories, just it's, because it's,
Most definitely.
yeah, but
Yeah, that
the good, the bad, and the ugly sometimes.
of course. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That book with the chef, that I wrote those books in 2008 and 2009. And then kind of revamped them and edited them and then had them, and they came out last year. So, yeah, that was an emotional go back because I wrote those during that very tumultuous time in my life, trying to like kind of escape it all, and ended up writing like my ideal man essentially, and essentially manifested my husband now. So it worked out.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you got your own little happily ever after.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, um, I have to. I know it's a hard question to answer sometimes, but which one is your favorite that you've written?
The audacity of Flower Carter sisters. Those are my favorite because I reread them all the time. Like I said, I love Jane Austen and I love those vibes, and I reread Jane Austen's books all the time. That's
Mm,
just my yearly reads.
yes.
Um, but I reread Audacity of Flower and The Pride of Princess all the time. Especially with my mom. My mom loves those too, and we'll read them together.
Nice.
So yeah, we have a good time.
Yeah. So Jane Austen, obviously one of your big inspirations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of that that thought process when writing, especially with contemporary romance. My poor editor, Lacey down there, is always like,
Ah.
"Yeah, it's time for you to. It's now. We're in modern times now. Stop talking like this." And I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. Let me switch that out. Lots of these and thous and
Yeah. It's Yeah. I know Lacey does the cowboy romance.
yes, she does.
Yeah.
I love them all too.
Yeah. I have to read some of those too.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah.
I've read every single one of them.
Yeah. I think I met her at Books and Bourbon last year.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She was there for sure. I was supposed to go, but I just couldn't make it work.
Yeah. I
I
know
was supposed
it.
to go like as a patron.
Now, do you have a favorite character that you've written? And conversely, which character would you say is maybe your least favorite, or the one that just makes you like gives you the
uh,
ick?
my favorite is Charlie and Vargas. Charlie is from Fractured, and he's like the abusive douchebag husband who ends up dying. That's right off the beginning, so that's not a spoiler. And he's awful, like terrible, and he gives me the horrible ick. And then Vargas from the Belham Realm series, he's awful. It's just he's one of those just slimy dudes
Oh,
that you just want to
oh yeah,
hit.
I love those. Yeah, I've written a couple of
Yeah,
those people that you just know
yeah.
instantly. It's like I
Mm,
just want to punch that
hmm.
guy.
Yeah, for sure. And he definitely gets his, but it's kind of sad. But it's just it is what it is. I got fussed at about it too with my readers because they were so like, what? Like it's fine. He's in book two. It's fine.
Now, you've written a couple series, and you said you have a couple other books now. Which one do you find yourself? Do you prefer the standalones or do you prefer the series?
I like the standalones. I like. doing those and like ending it. I'm one of those people who don't necessarily like watching shows because they're not done and they're not
Ah,
finished. And I hate getting invested. And what if it gets canceled? Like, I need to know that it's
right.
ended and wrapped up and we're good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, series. I'm okay with series. Like it's just a lot, and it's like kind of mentally draining, um, especially the fantasy series. So I think I hate to say this out loud because I'm a mood reader and writer by heart.
Hmm.
So I think the Belham Realm series is my first and final fantasy, like big full fantasy series. If I do any more fantasies, it'll probably be standalones, and that'll be it.
Nice. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe with like a spin-off with some of the characters, perhaps.
Yeah, I definitely have some plans for spinoffs for sure. I'm in the midst of one too. So I always have a whole bunch of whips going at one time or another. So currently I have two full on. So we'll see
Oh,
how
okay.
it goes.
I think Evie has about 50 whips right now.
Yo, yeah, there's about 30 altogether, but two that I'm actually actively working on.
Right. Others are just here's an outline, here's a couple of paragraphs or whatever, and we're just
Yeah.
yeah, I understand how that works.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and just a reminder, if you want a copy of Audacity of Flower, drop any type of flower you desire down in the comments. You know, I know we have a couple of people from your Discord who are watching tonight. I'm guessing they already have the
Mhm.
books, or I'm
Yeah.
yeah,
They do.
but now, I mean, we talked a little bit, or we touched on, like your husband, your kids. You have
Mhm.
your 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 lovely animals. How do you handle
Yeah.
everything? Like the author life balance.
Oh yeah, it's tough for sure. Just take everything day at a time. Like I treat being an author as this is my job. This is what I do.
Mm,
So this is what I do full time. So I come in, I clock in, basically do work. I have things scheduled out that I need to do for the day.
right.
And then I clock out. And then that's when I do the rest of the stuff with family or whatever, or even in between the day. I know I have certain projects I have to finish, and that'll take a couple hours. So I'll cut that in between, then I'll do some work over here for home or
Yeah.
whatever and out in the garden or with the animals and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. So it's just making sure I make space for everybody.
Yeah.
And I also homeschool my youngest, and so
Oh.
it's basically setting up our lives, realizing that school homeschool is you set it up how it works for you and your family. It's not necessarily sitting down at a desk all day long. So he's able to go outside, help me with the work, and
Hmm.
we incorporate school lessons throughout the day like that. And
Yeah.
that's how we're able to catch up with everything. And
Like
he's
not the
well,
traditional learning
right,
you know
right, but
environment.
he's still well over where he should be for his grade level. So it's
Nice.
awesome. We have a great time, and we can still travel around and do the things we need to do during the day. So it's busy, but I thrive in this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's I admire that, how you have everything, like you have the discipline to say, this is, I'm going to do this much writing every day. I have this much, I know I have to post, say I have to get to promote this or post about this, at
right.
certain times, and then at the end of the day, or whatever, whenever you clock out, you have
Hmm.
that's yeah, I think that's that's probably a great way to do it.
Yeah.
We should all be that.
I
So look,
have to like there has to be like a work life balance, and I have
yeah,
to understand. Even though I love being an author and I enjoy doing all of this and going to the events and doing all that fun stuff, like I really have to make sure that I maintain that balance because you'll really burn yourself out even if it is fun. So
oh yeah,
I want to make sure I have some longevity in this. So I have to stick to the schedule for my just for my own mental clarity
yeah,
and mental wellness.
yes, absolutely. Sai says he got the omnibus down
Yes,
in
he
the
did.
comments.
He has the audio for all of them.
Now, What do you enjoy the most and the least about writing and being an author?
I enjoy I enjoy being able to put my maladaptive daydreams onto paper because they can get really, really, really loud. Um, so if I don't get it on paper, it kind of like makes things muddled, you know what I'm saying? So being able to have a channel for that kind of creative energy and not feeling like it's just nonsense, and making it like a cohesive thought onto paper. I love that process. I love writing. I love making the story happen. I'm a pantser, so I just kind of
Oh,
go with it, and the characters tell me what's going to happen in the story. I can't know what happens at the end or I lose interest. Like I cannot
oh,
know. It has to be a surprise. Because if I know, like if I outline the whole story, then I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's
that
done. Like
that's
it's already over.
that. You know,
So
never
I
thought of it
like,
about it that way. Yeah,
yeah,
it,
I
it,
like finding out as much as everybody else. So I'm just as surprised as you are when the ending shows up. I'm like, wow, that was amazing. I didn't know that was going to happen. So
yeah, and
that's my favorite part. My least favorite part is marketing.
oh yeah, I think that's everybody's number one answer.
Yeah, it's terrible. I hate it so much.
Yeah, you know, some of us are
Yeah,
lucky to have street teams or whoever that
yeah,
to help out with that, and it's
yeah, for sure. It helps having someone to help out and post for you, but like you have to set that up. You have to
yeah,
schedule these things, and you have to, yeah. So
yeah,
I have like a schedule of because I have so many books. I have a schedule of what books I'm going to do for the week
hmm,
and what we're going to talk. I'm going to talk about for all of those posts, and I just keep that schedule going and just rotate it out.
yeah,
It's just easier that way. Or if I'm really lazy that day, I just find an old video or that year, the one
yeah,
like on this day thing, and I just
yes,
repost it. Like, you know what? That's what's happening today.
I've seen that. Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
I
I
know
try
it.
not to be too hard on myself.
Yeah, and I know it takes a lot of effort too. You know, even trying to set things up for other people to promote you, because I know Samantha Moran
Mm-hmm.
started her street team up again recently, and
Mm-hmm.
which I'm a part of, and it's she has everything already laid out for this is what I want to push this book this month, and I want
Right.
we need to do this and this, and
Right.
like the incentive is if you post it, you have a post the link to your video here, or you post on whether Insta or TikTok or wherever, and it's
Right.
yeah, but it does it does take a lot of effort to even set that up for other people to carry it out. It's
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but
yeah,
it's worth it. It definitely helps to get your book out and get your name out there, and um, you do what you got to do.
absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if you hear the ice cream man in the, just
Oh,
passing
that's
by.
coming from you. That's great.
Yes. So, and Bobby Isabel is here. Bobby Isabel is our guest next week.
Hi, Bobby.
She's down in the comments saying hello. Yeah. Now, you answered my question about plotting and pantsing.
Hmm.
Do you have any type of routine? Like you need a beverage, you need a drink, you need music, you need whatever.
Yeah, I like having music playing in the background, but it has to be instrumental. Um, and it has to go with the genre that I'm writing in. So if
Oh,
I'm writing, so my most recent book for my other pen name was a pirate, like a dark fantasy pirate kind of thing. It was Her Treasure. It's actually right here. Her Treasure. She's so
oh,
pretty.
nice,
And Miss Hannah did the covers. Um, but yeah, so I had to do like I did like Pirates of the Caribbean was playing for a month and a half
mm,
straight, uh, and all sorts of pirate shanty music and like all of the all of the sea kind of songs were happening. If
nice.
I was doing the Regency, I was playing nothing but
Did you stay at Hilton last week?
what's that?
Oh, that's right.
I
Hmm?
think is that Bob?
I don't know.
Oh, she's not muted.
Somebody asked if you stayed at the
I don't think
Hilton
she's.
last week.
I don't think she's talking to us.
Oh,
Sorry, guys. I didn't realize I wasn't muted because I'm on
No,
my
you're
phone
fine.
instead of the computer.
that's all right. So tell
And then
me,
so for the
so tell me, did you stay at
yeah
the Hilton last week?
yeah yeah did you
Yeah, like
for the Regency one, I listened to all of the Pride and Prejudice and all the Emma like soundtracks, and so like it has to be like
hmm
genre specific music that I'm listening to, and it kind of helps me get in that headspace.
nice.
And I actually have like playlists that I have now for all of my series. And what I listened to while I was writing it, and just songs that I just loved, and I think that go with the whole thing. So yeah, so that's music is really important. A beverage, always water. I always have this big old thing with me,
Nah.
and tea. If I'm starting out in the morning, I have to have a cup of tea. Um, it just is what it is. And my good friend down there, Mr. Cy Harold, got me this, and it
Oh,
stays hot. He got me this for my birthday last year,
oh,
so
nice.
all my tea stays hot
Hmm.
for me.
Now
So yeah, it's great.
that large cup, does that have your logo on it?
Yeah, that's my look. I got to promote wherever I go. So
Yeah, there you go. Now everybody knows you deliver TLC.
yeah, I do. It was great.
I mean, a lot of the people that we know, are indie authors. Some of them, may have considered trad at one time. Is that something that you ever thought about when you started, or was it strictly
Um,
the indie is the way for you?
Indie was definitely where I don't think traditional really kind of hit me at all. I never really desired to query and go out and do all of that. I always wanted to have more control over my stuff, and like copyright and all that kind of thing. I
Mm,
wanted to make sure that it was mine, and I didn't want to have anybody else telling me what my cover should look like, or what, any of that should look like,
right.
or I needed to change my main character to this, that, and the other, to fit a narrative that was trending, So
Got-
I just wanted to write what I wanted to write. So it was never a thing where I felt like, oh, I got rejected, so now I have to be an indie author. Like, no, it was never like that. It was always indie,
Yeah,
always, from the get go. So
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, and I've had, I know a couple of people have had some horror stories, and I published my first two books with a vanity publisher, and
Ooh,
and
yeah,
I learned that you don't
yeah,
see a dime of that.
nah, not at all. It's
Not
rough,
that now I see now I see two dimes instead of zero dimes, but well,
right?
literally
Right.
two.
You got two of them to rub together at least.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, you said you have a few works in progress that you work on.
Mhm.
Maybe maybe you work on this one, and or you work on something else. That is it when your characters aren't talking to you. If you get stuck, is that something you can do? Like you can switch works in progress, or do you
Yeah.
just kind of disengage? Uh, you know.
It depends. If they all stop talking to me, I do disengage. It's better than trying to like force it, because then I end up hating everything I write.
Mm,
So I usually just stop altogether and back off, and just kind of go with where I need to go. Like the book I'm writing now, is a spin-off of the Belham Realm series, and I stepped away from it because we were going on vacation, and my husband was like, "We're not working. That means you're not bringing your laptop with you." I was like, "Understood,
yeah.
understood." So I listened, and I didn't bring my laptop. I didn't even bring my tablet, so I didn't even draw. Like I didn't do any work.
Mm,
So I stopped at a good stopping point before we left, and I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna step away. And since I got back, they haven't been talking really, because I opened it up and I'm like, should I keep it? I was like, I'll stop for now. So I went to my rom com and started editing that. So because I have until July to get it to the editor down there. So so yeah, so I have that flexibility because we have so many whips in our back pocket. I just kind of rotate them out and see which
nice.
one is talking. For me, like my characters are like, I always tell people they're like, gifts in my head, and their last scene that they were in, they're kind of just like rotating in that scene in my head, just waiting to be filed out. And so pretty much how it is. So if
Nice.
that one starts to go into an actual motion picture in my head, and then I that's what I start writing. But if it stays in that one scene and I can't get out of it, I just back away. I'm like, it'll talk to me soon, and I'll just go to a
Yep.
different one. So
Yep.
that's how I rotate them.
I think that's probably the best way to go. I understand what you mean. It's, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even have. I don't think I have more than two whips right now. So I don't know.
yeah, that's fine. That's okay. You don't want to be here. It's a lot.
So, now, do you have any specific tools like do you use Atticus or Vellum or you know?
I I get see with the folks sitting in here, they're gonna I get fussed at because I'm really old school and I just use Word.
Oh,
That's it. I don't hear great things about Atticus anymore. Like Atticus used to be like the best thing, and then they updated, and then it's been terrible ever
hmm.
since. I'm like, you guys are not really advocating for it right now. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm okay with
Atticus,
Word.
you know, and yeah, I have to say Atticus. Sometimes if I try to copy and paste from Word to Atticus, it kind of the words get a little bunched up, and it just
Yeah,
it's it's like why do I even use Word? I just type in Atticus so it formats
yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I love Word. I've figured out how to maneuver around it and how to use it. So it doesn't bother me at all. I don't feel flustered with it, because I'm just used to how I'm used to its quirks. I just work around the quirks and just keep moving. I might change it later on. Who knows? But I like what I like. So
yeah,
I'm one with that's not really. I don't have to change things if it's not broken. Why fix it?
right, right. So,
Yeah.
by the way, we're kind of flying by here with all of my questions. So, if anybody down in the peanut gallery has questions, feel free to let her rip. And um, I think I asked you before about mental health and recharging your creativity. Like author life
hmm
balance. And we mentioned Jane Austen. As one of your favorites. Are there any
hmm
other authors? Either ones you've read in the past, or ones you read currently who have inspired you, who you consider like some of your favorites.
Yeah, Taya Rain is like I mentioned before, I read her church series, but she also has a fantasy series, a portal fantasy series at that, that kind of really heavily influenced the Belham Realm series,
Mm-hmm.
and it was called Lily. And it was about and it's rare that you find characters that look like you in books, especially for me, especially in fantasy realm.
Right.
Uh, so she writes a lot of mixed characters, girls who are mixed, or interracial relationships, or just like the girl themselves is mixed. And I
Yes.
love that because I don't see that a whole lot, especially in this genre. Um, so when I saw Found Lily, I was really, really excited about that. So it was a fantastic read, and I loved it. And if you are into fantasy in any kind of capacity, it's a great read. A lot of thrills, chills, and drama, and of course the romance is drizzled throughout the story, but it's mostly an adventure fantasy, and it's great. It's really well written. I loved it. That's probably why I had the dream that I had while I was reading it, and that's what inspired the Belham Realm series. So
Ah.
yeah, it Tyre Rain is probably the modern version for me of who I read all the time. I don't have a question about whether or not I'm going to read her book. I am going to. So she's
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah. Elena McPherson wants to know about your audiobooks. She said you had strict plans on only working on audiobooks this year. So how is that going?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Uh, freaking Elena.
Uh oh.
Yes, I am working on that as well. I'm working on my the book one for the Belheim Realm series is going to be turned into an audiobook by the end of this year. And I got into the studio this week, and I'm recording. So I'm on chapter 3 now. So I got the prologue one and two finished recording. So I'm doing all the female voices, and Sean Chaucy is doing all my male character voices. And so we should be wrapped up by June, I'm hoping. So we'll see.
Nice. And Lacey wants to know how many books we've written this year while recording.
Just one, Lacey, the rom com.
And
That's the only one that's completed right now. Outside, oh yeah, and Her Treasure from my other pen name. I always forget that I write that. It's like I'm disconnected from it for some reason, and I have an alter ego.
yeah,
uh, but Her Treasure came out just this past month, in April, and so it's two books officially that I will publish this year.
yes. Asai wants to know when you're venturing into sci-fi.
Oh, sigh. Okay, so I love me some Star Trek, like
Oh,
for real. Like I grew up watching Star Trek with my sister. She is by definition the Trekkie,
yep.
but I love it as well. I will. That's one of my comfort watches is all of the Star Trek movies, like old school ones, Next Generation, and the ones that came out recently.
Oh,
So,
okay.
recently being 15 years ago, but still recently.
Mm.
But yeah, I love all of the Star Trek ones. So if Mr. Sai will grant me romance, throughout the storyline, then yeah, maybe I'll get into sci-fi
Nice.
and do a little dabble
Well,
in that.
if you're into sci-fi, I highly recommend Stranger in the Pod by Shazara Brooks. It's
Yes, yes, it's on my TBR.
nice.
I
And
believe me, my
and
TBR is a mile long. So
yes, and the second book, Captain of the Wanderer, comes out later this month.
yes, yes, I have seen that. It's pretty awesome. I think I have it on pre-order already.
Yep.
So I think
Lacey also wants to know about this dragon book you were working on.
freaking lazy. The Dragon Book is affectionately called Chaucy's Mate, um, because it started out as an Appalachian kind of vibe fantasy romance, and now I have twisted it and churned it into more fantasy than anything, and have decided to flip it into a fantasy Western style
Uh huh.
with dragons. So
A fantasy
I don't know when
western
that's
with
going to be done.
dragons. Sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that almost sounds like
yeah,
it's like a Back to the Future or something gone
it,
terribly awry. It's like
yeah. It definitely has that vibe. So it's so I'm probably about 6 chapters into it right now. It definitely will have connections to the Belhem realm, and there's gonna be twists and turns of why that is, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know.
yes,
Well, I don't know how it's gonna end. I really don't. I started it once and trashed that idea, and now I've started a whole new spin on it.
yeah,
So we'll see
space
how it goes.
cowboys.
Maybe we'll go to space next. Who knows? And we'll
So
have that sci-fi for you, Si.
so um, getting back to this for a little bit. Um, do you have any sorry? Do you have any advice for unpublished writers or people who are just starting out, and what's the one thing you would tell them?
Don't wear yourself out. Don't
Ah,
burn yourself out. And take the time that you need. If you're struggling, walk away. If it's
yeah,
not coming together, take a moment. Like sometimes it's okay to not write that day,
yeah,
and maybe it's better to just plan that day, or to just kind of get your brain back to where it needs to be. Because I think you write best when you have some kind of mental clarity. And if you're
mm,
pushing, 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 it's not going to be what you want it to be.
yeah,
So I think it's really good to just pace yourself and enjoy the ride. If you write fast, it's awesome. I'm one to talk. I write really, really fast. But I enjoy it while I'm
yeah.
doing it, and my
Right.
mind is open, and I'm ready, and I'm letting it flow. But as soon as that block comes, I back off. I take a minute, take a breath. I try not to beat myself up over it. because the words will come. It's just a matter of time. So you just take your time and don't try to rush the process.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I'm actually, full disclosure, I'm kind of, backing off a little bit right now. Just for
Yeah,
what I need to do.
yeah,
It's um,
yeah. It's important.
yeah. You we are still rehoming a physical copy of Audacity of Flower.
Mhm.
So and drop a flower in the comments if you want a chance to acquire that book. And the more flowers you give me, the more chances you have. And as always, we reward people for sticking around. So
Yeah.
so all right, we're going to get into a couple more of the fun questions, before we start to
Okay.
to wrap things up. Uh,
All right.
this is Evie's favorite. You may or may not be aware of this one. So,
Yeah.
what is your favorite dinosaur?
My favorite dinosaur. Oh, it is hold on. The Quetzalcoatlus is my favorite. It's the big flying one with the really long,
Oh,
like, beak, and like it's the biggest one. It's
okay.
like a wyvern kind of style. I don't know how else to
Yeah, no,
explain
I
that.
that it, I kid you not, I've never heard of that name before. I've heard of all the,
Yeah,
Velociraptor, Pterodactyl,
right,
T Rex.
right.
You know,
It's my son is the reason I know that name. And
uh,
when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, that's what I like. I like that one. I didn't know it was called that.
I think Elena is suggesting that you might play D&D. I
I
don't know.
should play D&D. Everybody suggests I play D&D. I guess I should because all it is a storytelling game, and I think it's fascinating watching people play it. But I'm scared. I'm scared.
So, um, if you could live anywhere, real or imaginary, where would it be?
Oh, I would live in Araband, which is the made up world in my Regency romance because I love Regency times, but I like the made up version of it better than the reality of it.
Do you collect anything besides books?
Do I collect anything besides books? I collect flowers. Of course, they die, but I love flowers. Flowers, I love anything floral.
Mm.
And Um, so I love anything with flowers on it. They make me happy. I pick flowers
Hmm.
every day,
I
or
see
every
quite a
week
few
rather.
in the
Which have,
background here. Oh, there we go.
yeah, these are from my garden, so they're great. And my husband got me this lovely book vase,
Oh, I've
and
seen those. Those are awesome.
yeah, it's
Where
great. I love it
they
so much.
etch like a book cover into the
Yes,
glass. Is that what they do?
yeah. So he got my favorite book, Persuasion, on it. So it's great.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I collect flowers of any kind. Poppies are my favorite flower.
Oh,
Um, and so I love anything with poppies on it, or um, I like rocks. I used to collect rocks as a kid.
oh,
Um, so I still have like some of those rocks. And then I believe Lacey gave me this one. It's a rose quartz because it's like
oh,
rose
of
gold. So
course.
she gave me
Beautiful.
this one. So it's great. I love these.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No.
that's
Now,
kind of
do,
stuff.
do
That's
poppies put
knickknacks.
people to sleep like they suggest in The Wizard of Oz?
No, I don't think so. I have a whole bunch of them out front, so they haven't put me to sleep yet. So we'll see.
So, um, what is the most daring thing you've ever done?
Most daring thing. Um, I've gone surfing in Australia.
Ooh,
Um, that was scary because you can't. It just like goes down and you can see, and then it gets black, and
oh,
it's scary because you can't see beyond that blackness, but you can see everything else up top. It's a lot. Um, when you're young in your teens, you think you can do all that
oh yeah.
and not die.
Oh, I think was it my first weekend at college? I went up to Now I'm from Long Island, where we have sand for
Mhm. Yeah.
beaches with sand, and but on the North Shore and on the South Shore of Connecticut, where I went to school, but that's it's just rocks. It's like I
Yeah.
I actually sliced the bottom of my foot on one of those rocks. I didn't even realize it until I got out of the water. I'm like, what is this stinging sensation in my? And I went to
Oh
reach down,
no.
and my finger just didn't. My foot, you know, it was yeah. As luck would have it, a couple of, I went with a bunch of friends, and one of them was an EMT, so it was,
Yeah.
you know,
It worked out. At least
yes.
you didn't attract anything in the water.
Oh,
Because
oh,
that would have
yeah.
been fun.
Thankfully, yeah, no jellyfish or anything like that either. So,
Oof. Yeah.
um, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
My favorite ice cream flavor is really boring. It's chocolate.
Well, that's
I
not
don't
boring.
like stuff. I don't like stuff in it. Like I don't like I don't know.
Ah,
Sometimes it's okay to have a little crunch or a little whatever, but I don't want to always have to fight with something to get to the ice cream. I just want the ice
yeah.
cream. Just give me the ice
Just
cream.
you don't
But
want the
yeah,
cookie dough. You don't want the sprinkles. You don't want any of the bells
give
and
me
whistles.
go right into the ice cream. Every time I go to an ice cream parlor, I always get chocolate.
Gotcha.
Just chocolate on a cone, and that's it. And if it has like maybe like caramel inside of it, that's okay. That's okay. But
Yeah, yeah.
like mostly just chocolate.
Um, what inanimate object would be the most annoying if it played loud, upbeat music while being used?
So an inanimate object
Yeah.
most annoying being beaten against something.
Well, an inanimate object. What would be the if it played loud, upbeat music while it was being used? You know, and this doesn't necessarily have to be PG. I'll give you a hint. Well, that might be one of the answers, but there could be others.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, because I have kids and
Oh,
they have a lot of things that make sounds. It's
that
really
is true.
annoying.
Yeah.
Because my husband, my son has this Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it if you have it turned on, if you walk past it, it'll
Oh,
rah,
it's like
like,
motion
and then
sensor.
it keeps going,
Uh,
and it just keeps going and going and won't shut up until you turn it off again. Like turn it off as in take the batteries out. So that would be my answer to that
ah,
because I've hid that dinosaur
oh
and I don't
yes.
know where it is now. It went away. I don't know where it
I
is.
understand. Yes, we have our two cats, and sometimes
Mm,
they find a toy that is especially
yeah,
noisy, and like
yeah.
you don't want them playing with it at 1 o'clock in the morning or two.
No,
So yeah, so sometimes we have to hide them. You know,
yeah, definitely understand.
um, what food have you never eaten but you'd like to try?
Um, hmm. Okay. It's one of like the weird foods and it's scary and I'll probably never try it ever. But it's just one of those things that are like, I wonder what it tastes like. And that's octopus.
Oh,
I don't want to, okay, so it's not like, oh, I wonder if it's delicious. I know it's not. I already know. Let's just like it's not gonna be good. But like when you see people eat it, it's
hmm,
just like I wonder
hmm.
what it tastes
I
like. Like you just have that,
I wonder what it
intrusive
tastes
thought.
like
You
too.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
kind of
it's
curious. Like
just one of those
I
things.
could dip it in tartar sauce and it'd be all right, maybe.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's closer to a like a the squid kind of
Yeah,
vibes. You know what I
you
mean?
know,
Like probably the same type of texture.
yeah, I like calamari.
Calamari.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm saying like it's probably like a calamari kind of vibes. I'm pretty sure. But
yeah.
there's people when you see them in those certain countries where they eat them alive
Oh,
and they're like crawling out of their mouth. It's
what?
insane, bro. Like
No.
it's so crazy. Like the
No, I pretty
ugh.
much want mine cooked.
Yeah, it's insane. So like again, I realize they're not probably for my palate anyways good. They
Yeah.
probably don't taste good, but I often wonder like intrusive thoughts like I wonder what that'd be like.
But by the way, Elena, also getting back to the inanimate object thing, Elena says she had a
Uh-huh.
singing Rudolph that her father kicked across the room. Apparently, it didn't. I don't know if it started singing the song or if it just played,
It was
like
just too
reciting
much.
things from the show, or but
Uh-huh.
she never saw it again.
Just, just pushed it right out there. That's fantastic.
Yes. Um, what would you use to survive the zombie apocalypse?
Oh, definitely a bat with nails in it would help. Uh, like the nails sticking at the top of the bat out in the
Oh
back.
yeah.
Um, because you can just keep going with that. Like with a gun, you got to reload.
Oh
So
yeah.
I
That's
feel
true.
like
Yeah.
if you just have something to swing
Hmm.
that has, it's like yeah. I think that'd be
Yeah.
helpful.
You just have to hope it doesn't get stuck in anything.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah, just
Like like a bat with barbed wire, or something like that. It
yeah,
might get a little whatever.
a little stuck
Well,
on something.
hopefully
Yeah, it's fine.
hopefully we never find out.
Yeah.
So, um, if you were trapped on a deserted island or a foxhole, who's the one person you want with you?
Just one? Dang it. Because pretty much the people that are in here right now, I would want like, to come with
Yeah,
me.
they seem to have
Um,
an active imagination too.
yeah, it'd be fun. We'd never be bored, I'll tell you that much. But if I had to pick one, I would pick my husband. Like he's my best friend.
Yeah,
We have fun. So
yeah,
yeah,
I
he's a cool
understand that.
dude.
I
Yeah,
think I'd have to choose my wife too.
yeah, yeah. Good choice.
Yes, yes. So, just one final reminder to everybody: we are rehoming the book, and if you want to drop the flower emoji, any flower will do, because it's the audacity of flower. Just drop it down in those
Hmm.
comments.
She
And
has the audacity.
exactly, yeah, I mean, that is a very interesting title too, and so it's
There's a fun story about that title that involves Hannah, actually. Um, so we were talking about allergies, and um, me and my husband going back and forth, and you know, I was laughing and I said, "Yeah, it's that the audacity of that flower." And Hannah and I looked at each other. I was like, "That's a really good title name." And
that's
so
great. I love how
that's
how things just happen like that.
yeah, it was great. I was like, so yeah, allergies, and here we go, audacity of flower.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's great. It worked out, and it's really kind of oddly poetic that how I put it into the story as the mother is talking to her and giving her advice and whatnot. And so yeah, it was great. I was like, yeah, this worked out pretty good. So
Yes. So, can you remind us, or tell us, where can we find you online besides Discord?
yeah, I am on. Well, I have my website, which is authortlcombs.com. I have a link tree, which is author underscore TL dot Combs. And then same author underscore TL dot Combs for TikTok and Instagram and Threads. So I believe I have Blue Sky too. What's that? I think she
Oh.
clicked herself back on again. um, I have Blue Sky, and I think I'm on Tome too, and all sorts of things.
Hmm.
And I think I have a Facebook account as well. Just look up TL Combs, you'll find me.
Yes, yes. I tried Tome, and it just, I don't know. I haven't used it. It's,
Yeah, I feel overwhelmed every time
yeah.
I get on it. I'm just like,
Yeah, the funny thing is, it's like, I find Blue Sky is a little overwhelming for me too. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, I want to see, I have the, you know, I got included in all these different starter packs and whatnot. So now I
yeah,
have like 700 followers, and
same. Like,
so it's like,
how do I get so
I
many
can't,
followers on
I
here?
want
Like,
to, sometimes I just want to find 50 people, and it's just,
yeah,
but it's in chronological order, so it's just like, I'm
yeah.
scrolling and scrolling, and it's, I guess that's just the way that social
It's
medium is
set
set
up.
up. So,
Yeah.
but it is what it is, and it's
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah.
Um, we talked a little bit about I think it was Sinful and Booked in Chaos. So, what are your events
Mhm.
that you have planned for this year?
I am so I have an event at the Your Coffee House on the 18th of this month in Troutman, North Carolina.
Uh,
Next, and then in June, well, that is next month. I have an event for Front Page Media in Charleston, South Carolina,
okay.
on the 28th, I believe. And July, I believe I have a book signing in Barnes and Noble in Charlotte.
Ooh.
And August, I'm off because it's my birthday month. So I
Oh,
take off for my
same here.
birthday month. Oh, cool.
You a
Thank you,
Leo?
August. I am a Virgo.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm right on the cusp on the 23rd.
Okay.
So that's why my books come out on the 23rd, by the way. Like every time they come out, it's on the 23rd.
Gotcha.
Uh, so, um,
I think Evie does the same
and then
thing.
I have, oh, does she? Oh,
Well,
I didn't know
Evie,
that.
yeah, I think her books come out on the 15th of like she picks
Of the
a
month.
date
Yeah.
a month with the 15th. Is it? Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt. I'm just thinking, yeah, she
No,
does the
you're
same
fine.
thing. Yeah.
No, you're fine. And then I believe I have something in September and October and November, and I believe there it's Chaos in the Carolinas and Booked
Right.
in Chaos, and then something in between that. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's
Yeah. So, anything else you'd like us to know before we, do our giveaway and kind of wrap things up here tonight?
um just that be on the lookout for Charmed Again. That I actually have that up for pre-order. That is my rom-com. That my oh, and I have a copy of it right here.
Aha.
It's my rom-com that's coming out. My Jane Austen inspired rom-com. And actually Hannah did these covers as well. And but yeah, I have that coming out. Hopefully my birthday month. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not. I probably September actually. It might be coming out then. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, it'll be summer, late summer, that it comes out. I will let everybody know. But it is up for pre-order both on my website and on Kindle.
Nice. All right. Well,
Yes.
as fate would have it, it looks like Bobby is our winner this evening,
Yay,
and
Bobby! I could
our
probably
guest
just like drive over to her.
our guest for next week is Bobby Isabel, and she's also our big winner. So she's a winner. She's a winner 2 weeks in a row. She gets the audacity of flower, and she gets to be our guest next week.
That's yeah, twice over.
So
Yay,
congratulations there.
Bobby! Send me your info.
Yes.
I can mail this to you.
Awesome. Yeah, I think she's pretty close too. I mean, she's also in Carolina.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, she is. She's really close. I think she's only like an hour and a half away. You probably
Oh,
just meet her somewhere.
oh, nice. So anyway, but uh, thank you very much for joining us. And just
Of
a
course.
reminder.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a reminder, we have our anthology that comes out July 1st. See Me as I Am. Uh, the actual cover is not inverted, but I don't know how you see it, but it's yeah, it's 17 authors, including myself, Samantha Moran, Evie Black, and a whole bunch of others. Bobby Isabel actually submitted some poetry for the anthology, and we can't wait
Oh, nice.
to reveal it to the world and talk to her about this next week. So um,
Nice.
we have a link tree, Friday Night Writes. If you can find us, there's links everywhere to, we have a page where you can pre-order everything. Ebooks are available on Amazon, physical copies. We are taking orders right now. We're going to, and we will invoice you shortly. So that is, and oh yes, and the proceeds are going to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So, so
Nice.
anyway, so that's my story, and as I mentioned, Bobby is here next week, and this will be available either later tonight or tomorrow morning on the YouTube. So and we'll drop the link everywhere. We have our Facebook group, our Discord, and everywhere else. And we're going to work on scheduling some people for 2026. Actually, we're Samantha, Evie, and I are gonna get together next week sometime to talk about what the scheduling is going forward for 2026 and beyond. So if you want to be on the show, that link tree I mentioned, there's also uh, a link to our author interest form or interview interest form. So you can hit that up. And again, the anthology comes out July 1st. And so I think that's all I have for tonight. And everybody, you're, everybody's been a wonderful. We have a wonderful audience this evening, and we had a wonderful guest. So thank you very much once again,
Thank you.
T.L. Combs.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you.
Did I do that? How did I?
Yeah, I don't. It was great though.
I don't know how I did that, but yes. Somebody is clapping out there. I don't know how. All right.
Probably sigh.
Okay. If I do this, does it do it? No, I don't know. It's probably Psy. It's probably do. All right. So, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.